So there's a serious debate going on all over the internet and probably all over the world. And this debate is, will people go back to using giant amplifiers and giant cabinets? Or is everything just going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we keep going on? So let's jump in today and let's talk about that. So, like I said, everybody is talking on the internet about should we go back to using big amps and big cabs, and is there going to be a resurrection or resurface of all of this type of stuff? Because honestly, small digital stuff is starting to really take over the market and becoming more and more prevalent all the time. Many bands you go see these days have rack-mounted equipment or just a pedal on the floor, and that's it. You're not seeing all these giant cabs and anything like that very much anymore. Now, sometimes you do. Obviously, I mean, if you're going to go see a giant rock concert at a giant place, most likely, sure, if you go see Def Leppard, Metallica, somebody like that, there probably will be some big old giant amps on the stage because, well, that's just the level that they're at. But when you're playing clubs and you're gigging around, people just don't really seem to be doing that. And some of the main players in this game are Kemper, Fender with their new Tone Master, the Helix. There are so many others that I could name. Lately, I've been really using, you can see I've got a Helix, not a Helix, excuse me, sorry. I've got a Kemper right here behind me. That's one of my Kempers. I also have a little small Kemper, a little portable thing, which actually works totally awesome. There's so many cool sounds. This is an amazing product. And I also have another one that I've got. This is the Vailton. This is the GP200. This is going to be a very interesting video that I make with this, because this thing you can go online and just make an offer of it like I did on eBay, and I got this for $250. 250 bucks. They normally sell for 350 bucks. And by the way, the music equipment, 98% of the stuff that you see with musical equipment will always be stuff that I bought out of pocket. I bought this out of my pocket so that I could bring a review to you guys. And the reason I've been doing this is because, well, I'm 60 years old now, guys. I know, hell, I'm beautiful and I don't look it, but I'm 60 years old. And lugging around all this giant-ass shit that I got behind me just really got old. I got tired of dragging around these big old giant heads and cabs and everything else. So I started buying all of these new cabs, these full-range speaker cabs that are super-duper light and sound great. And honestly, the Fender Tone Master, I feel, out of all the ones out there, it's the absolute best. You get 1,000 watts. It's a killer speaker. I mean, I have one sitting over there. I mean, it's not that hard to probably go knock some stuff off and show you guys which this cab is. But here, just hold on one second. Let me do this. This here, right here. Whoa, I'm dropping it. This big old thing right here, which is super duper light. This is my Fender. This Tone Master cab has 1,000 watts. Is super duper light, and you pair this and that little pedal, either one of them, sorry to get my head out of the camera like that, but you pair that and then you pair that with one of these or any type of Helix or any of those other type of foot pedals that are out there. There's so many that I could name. The Fesley is another one that I've been looking at. It's very, very low price, like 200 bucks. There's a bunch of these coming out and they're cool. This and this little cab right here and a wah pedal, or a volume pedal, whatever you want to choose, and you've got your whole rig. And that makes it a lot more appealing than going around and carrying big old giant amps and cabs. And yeah, some people will say, okay, it's not, the total identical tone of my amp in the room sound, because it's not. None of these foot pedals, none of these things, the Helix, the Fender, the Kemper, none of them What you're hearing is you're hearing the sound of what you'd hear on a record. It is not the room sound. No record that you've ever heard is really the room sound. What you're hearing is a speaker through a microphone into a recording. And what I think is cool about the Kemper and some of these other things is when I see some bands use these, I'm like, wow, these guys sound exactly like their record. And that's actually pretty cool. I like it. So when I first heard the Kemper, I was like, wow, I went Kemper crazy. I mean, everybody in my band get Kempers. We have nothing but Kempers in our rack. We have Kempers, we have a Seymour Duncan, we have this Power Stage 700 thing, and we use speakers sometimes. And if we don't want to use our speakers to look cool, then we take these little tiny little Tone Master cabs. So I really don't see in the future being any type of renaissance, unless they figure out a way, some kind of new equipment and everything that just makes it really simple to do so that you don't have to break your back and hope you don't break some tubes, while you're moving your equipment around. I don't see a renaissance coming back for musicians playing live unless you're giant. I don't see it happening. What I see is a lot of people owning killer amps, but all these killer amps in the future, they're going to be taking them, capturing that sound, and then selling that sound in some kind of foot device or some kind of rack device that's digital that you can take with you. And let me tell you something. This Kemper, I'm telling you right now, this is a deep, deep, deep fucking product. People get it and they're just like, oh, I can't operate that thing, man. It is seriously a deep dive. I've read the manual multiple times. I feel like I'm pretty good at it, but there is still shit I'm always learning about the Kemper because it has so many different things that you can change. And if you dig deep and you pay attention to what's going on with the Kemper, I'm telling you right now, it will blow any fucking amp that you have out of the water. It will sound better. It will perform better because you can set it to whatever you want. And by the way, Kemper's never paid me jack shit. I've given them a ton of my money. I really like the Kemper. I really do. Tone Junkie, that dude got me hooked on this stuff. And I've watched a lot of his videos and I'm just like, you know what? I got to try this. And so I started digging in and started trying pedals. And Chris, the cameraman, he has a foot pedal as well. So I'm going to test that. I really like these things. So in the future, I do not see a renaissance of these giant cabs or anything coming back, especially for local bands and new bands that are just playing clubs and stuff like that. I just don't see it happening. It's just way too easy to pack up a couple little things and then go hit the club and still sound absolutely great. Because with this little 1,000-watt, believe me, it plays louder than the drums and it kicks ass. And it's cheap. It's like $500. So a little Kemper thing is like $600. You can get these $600 like out the door. You can find them all online all the time, maybe even less. Kempers are coming down in price because they've been out forever and a day. And there's a lot of new stuff coming out to compete with it, including that GP200 like I showed you before, which I really can't wait to try out because I'm thinking, man, it's really easy to use. It may even be able to beat my Kemper. So, so we'll see. But at the end of the day, no. Digital is the way of the future for almost all live performances, I feel. The whole entertainment industry is going digital. All the lights are digital. Everything's programmed. In the future, they'll probably have everything programmed in. You'll probably play and all your stuff's going to be like in. They'll know when to put your reverb in. They'll know when to put your delay in. They'll know when to do everything. And you're just going to be able to play. And it'll probably be all automated by some little machine like this. So let me hear your comments down below. Do you guys think that people are going to go back to carrying big old giant amps around clubs? Or do you guys feel that all these new digital things are totally cool and you want to embrace them as well? Now, obviously, there's never going to be anything exactly like your great tube amps. I mean, I've got a bunch of them. Back before, I used to have a lot more before I got sick and had to sell a bunch of them just to pay my medical bills. But, whole other story there. But The thing is, though, is that, yeah, those things are cool, but they're expensive, they're huge, and they're just not convenient these days. Let me hear your opinions down below. I'm Elric. You've been watching Tech of Tomorrow. Peace out, rock on, and we'll see you guys back here on Tech of Tomorrow.